You think you're doing everything right, but what if the very thing you believe will make him love you is the reason he's slipping away? Have you ever wondered why you give your best, yet still feel unseen? Why you pour your heart out, only to be left questioning if you're enough? Why it always feels like no matter how hard you try, love keeps slipping through your fingers? And what you're about to hear may change everything you thought you knew. You know the cycle too well. You wake up with your phone by your side, hoping to see his name on the screen. When it's not there, you tell yourself he's just busy, but deep down, your chest aches with that familiar doubt. You replay the last conversation in your head, wondering if you said something wrong, if you should have been softer or maybe stronger. You scroll through his social media, searching for clues, anything to prove you still matter. With your friends, you wear the mask, you smile, you laugh, you tell them things are fine, even though inside you feel invisible. Later, when the lights are off and you're alone in your room, the silence feels heavy. You wonder why you're always the one giving more, waiting more, hoping more. You've tried to do everything right, being supportive, being understanding, being available, but instead of bringing him closer, it often feels like he pulls further away. And the part that hurts most? You don't even realize when you started losing yourself in the process. At night, you lie awake asking questions you can't say out loud. Why do I always feel like I'm the one chasing? Why does love feel like something I have to earn? Why does it seem so easy for other women, but so heavy for me? And the truth you've never said aloud, but always feel deep down, is this: you're terrified that no matter what you do, it will never be enough to make him stay. The hidden mistake most women make without realizing it is this: they confuse giving more with being more lovable. They believe that if they pour every ounce of themselves into a man, being available, being accommodating, being endlessly patient, then he will finally see their worth and choose them. But in reality, the opposite often happens. Instead of inspiring deep love, overgiving creates imbalance, pressure, and distance. Why do so many women fall into this trap without even realizing it? It starts with attachment. From the time we're little girls, many of us are conditioned to tie our worth to how well we make others happy. If you had an anxious attachment style growing up, maybe because love felt inconsistent or affection had to be earned, you learned to monitor others closely. You learned that if you gave enough, behaved well enough, or sacrificed enough, maybe love would stay. As an adult, this plays out in relationships. You give, you bend, you wait, and you hope, all while quietly fearing you're never truly enough. But here's the part most women never realize. Men don't fall deeply in love with the woman who erases herself for him. They fall in love with the woman who knows herself, who stands in her worth, who doesn't need his attention to validate her value. Another piece of the puzzle lies in self-worth. When you doubt your own value, you often try to earn love instead of simply receiving it. You might think, if I just show him how loyal I am, if I just prove I'll never leave, if I just love him harder than anyone else, then he'll finally choose me. But relationships don't work that way. Real attraction isn't built on proof. It's built on presence, energy, and boundary. The more you try to prove your worth, the more you subconsciously send the message that you don't already believe you have it. And men pick up on that. But here's the part most women never realize. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about showing that you know your value, even when someone else doesn't. There's also a deeper hidden fear at play, the fear of abandonment. This fear whispers that if you stop giving, if you stop chasing, if you stop proving, you'll be left behind. And so many women double down on the very behavior that keeps them stuck. They tolerate less, accept breadcrumbs, and call it love, because walking away feels scarier than holding on. Yet in this very fear lies the mistake, because when you cling too tightly, you suffocate the space where love and desire naturally grow. But here's the part most women never realize. The fear of losing him often makes you lose yourself first. And that's the very thing that makes him drift away. The truth is, men don't fall in love with women who need them to fill the emptiness inside. They fall in love with women who already feel full, who invite them in but don't depend on them for air. When a woman radiates wholeness, she awakens something primal in a man, the desire to cherish, protect, and pursue. But when she overgives, overchases, and overproves, she unknowingly tells him, "I don't believe I'm enough unless you say I am." But here's the part most women never realize. The hidden mistake is not that you're unlovable, it's that you've been giving away your love without first giving it to yourself. The first step is recognizing that love is not earned, it's shared. The emotional truth is that when you overgive, you're not actually showing love, you're showing fear. Fear that if you stop pouring into him, he will leave. But here's the shift. The man who is truly meant for you will stay because of who you are, not because of what you do. Practically, this means pausing before every text, every favor, every compromise, and asking, am I doing this out of love or out of fear of losing? Imagine a woman who always drops her own plans to see him, always says yes, always bends. At first, he enjoys it, but over time he senses her need more than her strength. Now imagine if she chose differently. Sometimes saying, I can't tonight, but I'd love to see you this weekend. That small act shifts the energy. It shows she values herself, and he feels it. What if you chose yourself this time? The second step is reclaiming your boundaries. The emotional truth here is that boundaries aren't walls, they're invitations. They say, this is how I deserve to be loved. Without them, you slowly disappear, hoping his approval will make you feel whole. Practically, this means deciding what is non-negotiable for you. Consistent communication, respect, emotional effort, and not being afraid to voice it. Think of a woman who answers every late-night call, even when it hurts her, because she's afraid saying no will push him away. Now imagine if she calmly said, I value my rest, so let's talk earlier tomorrow. At first, he may be surprised, but deep down, he respects her more. Boundaries don't push men away. They reveal whether he is capable of loving you the way you deserve. What boundaries have you been too afraid to set? The third step is turning your focus inward. The emotional truth is that men fall hardest for women who are already in love with their own lives. When you make him the center of your world, you unintentionally dim the very spark that drew him in. Practically, this means reinvesting in your passions, friendships, and dreams. Imagine a woman who once loved painting but now spends her evenings scrolling, waiting for his reply. She feels smaller, emptier, invisible. Now, imagine her picking up her brushes again, creating something that lights her up. That energy shifts everything. When he sees she has a life that excites her, he feels drawn, not by obligation, but by admiration. So ask yourself, what would I do with my time if I wasn't waiting for him? The fourth step is daring to walk away when your soul feels starved. The emotional truth is that love is never about convincing, it's about connection. If he cannot see your worth no matter how much you give, then staying is the biggest mistake of all. Practically, this means listening to your gut when it whispers, you deserve more. Imagine a woman who stays for years, hoping he'll change, losing pieces of herself along the way. Then imagine the same woman deciding to let go, even through the tears, because she finally realizes loving him should not mean abandoning herself. And the moment she walks, something shifts. She may lose him, but she finds herself again. And that is the love that never leaves. So now the question lingers in your heart. What if you chose yourself this time? How would everything in your life begin to change? You have spent years believing that love is something to be earned. But love was never meant to be a battlefield where you prove your worth. It was always meant to be a mirror, reflecting back the truth you already carry inside. You are not invisible. You are not too much. You are not hard to love. You are simply someone who forgot her own light while trying to keep someone else's flame alive. And now you remember. The woman who chooses herself is unforgettable. The woman who says no when it costs her too much is irresistible. The woman who walks away from crumbs will one day feast on love that is whole. Because dignity is magnetic, self-respect is radiant, and a heart that beats for itself first can never be ignored. You do not need to twist yourself into knots to be worthy. You do not need to shrink to fit into someone else's fragile vision of love. You do not need to wait for his recognition to validate your beauty. Your worth was written long before he ever arrived, and it will remain long after he is gone. The truth is, men fall deeply in love with women who have already fallen deeply in love with themselves. Because nothing is more captivating than a woman who does not fear being alone. Nothing is more magnetic than a woman who knows she is whole. Nothing is more powerful than a woman who finally decides, I will never beg for what I already deserve. To rise from the weight of self-doubt. Shake off the chains of overgiving. Lift your chin and let the world see you, untamed, unbroken, unapologetically alive. You are not chasing anymore. You are not waiting anymore. You are not proving anymore. You are becoming. Becoming the woman who doesn't just dream of love, but embodies it. Becoming the woman who doesn't settle for almost, but insists on everything. Becoming the woman who no longer whispers her needs in the dark, but speaks them boldly in the light. And when you walk this way, when you live this truth, you will never again wonder if you are the one, because the man who is meant for you will not hesitate. He will recognize the rarest kind of woman, the woman who's both soft and strong, giving and grounded, tender yet untouchable. The woman who finally knows she was never a mistake, but always the miracle. So take this truth and carry it with you. You do not have to lose yourself to be loved. You only have to find yourself to be unforgettable. And tonight, as you close your eyes, let this question echo in your soul. If you finally chose yourself, fully and without apology, what kind of love would the world be forced to give you?